1935, when I was 10 years old, refrigeration was just beginning to come into household use. Refrigerators were very, very scarce and very expensive. These were the Depression days, so buying something new wasn't done much. But most everybody had, everybody had an ice box. And an ice box was just a square wooden cabinet that sat in the kitchen with a place to put a cake of ice on one side and then everything you wish to keep cool on the other. And if you were renting a house, you probably had a dish pan underneath it, so as the ice melted, it collected the water there and you had to remember to dump it every day or so. If you owned the house, you probably had holes drilled in the floor so that the water melting from the ice could run outdoors. Sometimes, as we did in our house, the ice box was built into a wall of the kitchen, and then on the outside of the house there would be a door which you could open, and the man bringing ice could slide it into the ice box without ever having to come into the house. If you wanted ice, you had a square card which you put in the window, and the iceman, when he came, could see that card. And on one side would be 25, then 50, 75, or 0. You put that up in the window. And Sam Burnett, who drove this great big wagon, bright green, pulled with 2 mules, drove down the street, stopped in front of the house, looked at the sign, would crawl down, and all of us younger kids would congregate and watch him. I was about 10 years old at this time. We would watch Sam as he got up into the ice buggy, or the wagon, pulled out the size ice that was, so the card indicated in the window, hung it up at the back of the wagon, had a little device to spread water on it. Sometimes he shaved off some ice to square up the block, which fell down into the gravel road. Then he unhitched that piece of ice, threw it over his back, and took it into the house. As soon as he left, all of us young kids ran to the spot and grabbed a piece of ice that had fallen down in the street, and we wiped that on our pants very carefully, and then we sucked on that ice for several minutes, and that was a real treat on a hot summer day. Sucking on that ice was a treat. You didn't suck on ice any other way. There were no ice cubes. None in those days. You could chip ice off the block you had in the house, but you did darn little of that. I don't remember ever having ice being put in a drink I had in the house. I presume it was, but I don't remember it. The ice company was called Zublin Garth. Zublin Garth Upriver Ice Company. Now, don't even think about what upriver meant. But in those days, if you went north on the White Fox Road, just before you cross the bridge, look to your east, the river goes east and then swings south. And that land is owned by Art Toll now. But around that corner south was Zub's Dam. Zublin and Garth were the ice company, and they had built a dam in the river probably before 1900. And that dam backed the water up all the way up to the bridge in the White Fox Road, and made a nice pond of water from which in the wintertime they could cut ice. And that is what they did. They had a great big saw, maybe 3 feet in diameter, hooked to a gasoline engine, which they set on the ice, and then as the saw blade would cut through at least a foot of ice, they would push that device up to the river bridge and then come over a couple of feet and push back again on the other side of that cut, giving you a solid block of ice that had been cut all the way down to around to the ice building around the corner. Then they would start breaking off the pieces of ice in that channel and floating them down the river, putting them up into that building to use in the next season. They would break the ice all the way back to the river bridge, and then they would cut another channel down and float down more ice. And they would cut all the ice they could get at that area between the river bridge and their storage building. After they cut and after it froze again in the middle of the wintertime, it was the most beautiful, smooth, black ice you have ever seen. And everybody in Webster City who wanted to went there to skate. There were no places to skate in town. All skating was done on the river somewhere or other, or maybe on Brewer's Creek. But that was the best skating, and I, as a 10-year-old, I remember vividly going to skate there and thinking, my gosh, it's water, when that coal black ice, newly cut, was there to skate on. Treat, a real treat.